Obligation.
And of course, you remember our buddy DeAndre from yesterday or from Thursday. The little kid, the young boy who was assaulted by the white man. The white man had power, and the black man didn't have any power. It was a uneven scales. And he just attacked him because he seen a black guy walking through his neighborhood, and he jumped up and said, "Hey, black guy, not around here. You in the wrong neighborhood, black person." Well, I kind of showed you guys that that wasn't true yesterday. That nothing, like, this is the thing about these stories, and that's why it's so important to not only subscribe to this channel, share these videos, but also support this channel. You saw what they did to the video last night. And as you see, there was absolutely zero reason for them to do that to that video. That video, there was absolutely zero reason for them to do that to that video. However, they did it. And you guys know what time it is. Make sure you take that $5 challenge, support the channel, PayPal, Super Chat, Cash App, whatever. Because not only are these pieces of these stories that the mainstream media give us false, the entire story is bullshit, BS, okay? The entire story is BS. All of it. So let's hear this brother tell us what really happened.
Tell me what happened. I got the story from the lady who started the whole thing. Mr. John was in the house. For some reason, this lady, I don't know if she's lying. I can't say she's lying, but she's saying that the young man in the video sexually assaulted her daughter. They friends. The daughter 21, he 22. What happened was they are quote unquote dog walking partners. The boy tugged on her shirt, she said. She came out yelling for help. She didn't explain how they got into the argument. She won't explain that. So boom, she said that she came out in the middle of her street and yelled help.
Oh, Mr. John, as the Black Lives Matter activist called him, I didn't say that. Mr. John. So Mr. John did what any Marine, any soldier would do. A woman comes banging on your door screaming that she's been assaulted. Mr. John came out there and told the guy to leave, and the guy still wouldn't leave. But this guy we thought was so passive and was so nice and innocent and sweet, now that the camera was on, there was a dust-up between him and a woman prior to the camera being cut on. But when the man came out, albeit a big, huge, hulking man with bass in his voice, and DeAndre probably ain't got no daddy, so he never, encountered, he probably used to being around women and hearing demands from women. Look, I don't know any soldier, any cop who's off duty, even an SPO. They're in their neighborhood. Their neighbor's wife comes banging on their door saying they're assaulted. What did Mr. John do wrong with the information he was presented with? Now, he's going to lose his entire career. He's branded a racist forever. There's no way he can redeem himself. Even though he shouldn't have to redeem himself. There's nothing he can do to redeem himself. This ship has sailed. I feel sorry for Mr. John. Damn, Mr. John. I had to do that. There was nothing you could have done, man. There was no There was nothing Mr. John could have done, man. God, that tears me up too. That there was nothing Mr. John could have done, man. And there's nothing he can do. Like, I want y'all to understand that. Hit one if you following me here. His neighbor, and he's friends with the neighbor. The neighbor is his buddy. His neighbor's wife comes banging on his door. Well, his neighbor's daughter comes banging on his door. The neighbor's daughter and the mom come banging on the door. You see he ain't had no shoes on. He hopped up with no shoes. He tells them, look, none of my business. He calls the police. You called the police on a black man. You like Central Park Karen. You use the... You Central Park Karen. They'd have called him Army Sergeant Chad. Weaponizing the police against the black man. It was nothing. There was absolutely nothing he could do. Once DeAndre did what he did, and those women, the father, the man of their house wasn't home, and the next man around, I wish those women would have just called the police, man. They could have been Karens. They could have been South Carolina Karens, weaponizing the police against a black man for no reason. Rather than this American hero, this great man, being vilified and losing his career. Over just some BS, man. God, dog. Where there's more than 3, that's a place I won't be.
Shows a shooting outside Greenbrier Mall, and all of it over a single bottle of water. The victim saying things took a turn for the worse when he didn't want to buy a bottle of water from a teen. CBS 46's Sierra Cummings is live there tonight. And Sierra, you were able to speak to one of those water sellers. What did they tell you?
Okay, guys, unbeknownst to you guys, there's a whole lot in this first part of this segment. Okay. I know you guys remember the incident in New York City where the woman lost her phone in the hotel lobby, the 20-year-old Hispanic woman, and she accused the 14-year-old black guy, and the father was there. The father was a trumpeter, and they got into a little altercation. She tackled the boy, and then it made Good Morning America and all national news, and the mayor came out and apologized. The mayor apologized. Then you had the incident we just covered. DeAndre and the state senator was on Don Lemon last night. I was looking for that video of her on Don Lemon last night. That was the most insane. If I find that video of Mia McLeod, South Carolina state senator, on Don Lemon, if you have that, send that to me. That is the most insane interview you ever heard in your life. I digress. So, mayors, politicians apologize when things happen to black people when they're done by white people. Even though in all these cities, 90% of the people who get murdered are black, and 95% of the people who commit murders, the suspects are black. Mayors apologize every time. Senators apologize. Some representative, somebody will apologize every time a black person is in Walmart and a white lady cuts in front of him in line. How many of y'all think there's going to be anybody going to apologize to this guy who was shot by a water seller? Now they're calling them water sellers. Because Water Boyz denotes racism, even though white people don't even... This is a black city. They were dubbed Water Boyz by themselves and the black community, but now water sellers because the connotation and the notice is racist, makes them seem like mind-boggling, man. It is just too much dealing with these people, man.
All of it over a single bottle of water. The victim saying things took a turn for the worse when he didn't want to buy a bottle of water from a teen. CBS 46's Sierra Cummings is live there tonight. And Sierra, you were able to speak to one of those water sellers. What did they tell you?
Well, they've got a message for their fellow sailors, but first, the victim was shot right here, the local smoke shop, capturing the entire thing on surveillance. And as you mentioned, it appears this all happened because that victim did not want to buy from the self-proclaimed, well-known Water Boyz. Police say kids told a customer coming from the nearby deli to buy a water from them. That customer told them to leave him alone as he walked back to his van. APD said because the Water Boyz talked disrespectfully to the customer's wife, there ended up being some back and forth. You can see the kid pull out something, then moments later the customer appears to be in pain, checking his body, realizing he was shot.
Now this guy's with his wife, and he's got a group of young Wakandan boys demanding that he buys a water from him. And as you heard the woman say, the boys in this area are adamant about making sales. You think they would have said that if it was some white boys? Could you imagine if these were some white guys? Little white boys? Could you imagine these some little white boys? And it's just known throughout the community. These guys are adamant about making sales. That's the common knowledge. This guy's with his wife. They disrespect his wife. They punk him. You buy water from us, nigga. And then they shoot his ass in the place where they hang out all the time. They didn't shoot him somewhere where they not. They shot him in a place where they are always at, and where there's cameras everywhere. Just think about that. That shows you the level of danger you're in. Okay? They shot him in a place where they're always at. Like these boys, this is their spot. So if this guy wanted to retaliate, he knows where to come. Even if he hadn't been shot, if he just wanted to retaliate for the words or for the disrespect of his wife, he knows where they're at. They don't care. If they want to call the police, get the police involved. The police know where they're at. They don't care. Because these are probably teens, so they know nothing going to happen to them. Boy, has that myth of the school to prison pipeline myth has taken a beating over the last couple of months, hasn't it? For all our lives we've heard that black kids are just put into the system, and they always putting black kids in the system for minor marijuana offenses. If it's 100 black kids in the system, it's 95% of them is in there for minor marijuana offenses, and then their lives are set on a downward spiral because they're in the prison system. They're in the criminal justice system, I mean. Boy, that narrative has taken a beating over the last couple of months.
Police say kids told a customer coming from the nearby deli to buy a water from them. That customer told them to leave him alone as he walked back to his van. APD said because the Water Boyz talked disrespectfully to the customer's wife, there ended up being some back and forth. You can see the kid pull out something, then moments later the customer appears to be in pain, checking his body, realizing he was shot. Here on Greenbrier, the kids are known to be adamant about making a sale, but we talked to ones here today who had this message to share with their fellow sellers.
We come out here every day to make some money, and for people, and for black people to tell us no, we take that a certain way. We're like, oh, okay. They tell us no, we get angry, but y'all got out on with y'all anger. Y'all gotta learn how to control y'all anger. Y'all my partners, but control your anger. That's all I got to say.
See, when I tell you guys stories, I know y'all don't be believing me, man. Y'all like, man, Nation, see, I wasn't there. There's no footage. Our Nation is exaggerating, man. You can't make this stuff up. That's why I'm just telling, like, you can't make it up. I'm glad we have footage, though, for this one. Because if I told you that this was the response, we come out here every day to make money, and when black people, so he's admitting that the guy that got shot was black. When black people don't buy water from us, we get angry. And he understands his cohort's anger, but they just got to control the anger. This is what you're dealing with. These boys have been out here for years. Just think about it. Think about if you're in this neighborhood, right? We got to break this down. You live in this neighborhood, and that's the shopping center right in your neighborhood, and it's got something in there like the deli or the smoke shop or something that you like. When you go there, you're like, oh, shit. You're going to encounter these boys, and you got to, that's on your mind. When you pulling up, or when you leaving the house, or when you have the thought to go there. And if you're black, the expectation is that you're going to buy some water. If you're white, you know, whatever. I'm sure they give white people the blues. But if you're black, there's a certain level of anger because we out here trying to make some money. The entitlement. And you black and you not going to give us no money? We won't disrespect you and talk cash, S-H-I-T to you. Disrespect you, whoever you with, and not care. And if you come back and shoot one of us, you going to jail for 50 years. If we shoot you, it's going to be an investigation, but they ain't never going to find nobody. If we assault you, well, he's 16. They'll probably put him in cuffs. And a bunch of Black Lives Matter activists will come down there. You put a 16-year-old in cuffs. They put cuffs on a 16-year-old. Or if they do get booked and processed and taken down to the station, they'll be out before the day's over. And back in the same place. And now you got to run into this dude next time. You got to run into this little monkey who's going to be staring at you hard, looking at you all ice grilling you when you come back to the strip ball a week or two later or whatever later. The next time you come back, the next day, he mad because you done got him locked up. And all his little buddies ice grilling you, and they hurling insults at you and talking all type of trash at you in front of your girl and shit. You getting punked out by some 15 and 14-year-olds in front of your girl or your wife. Who thinks that this story right here is worse than the story that gripped the nation this week? DeAndre and Army Sergeant John Pentland, a.k.a. Mr. John. Which story is worse? Share these videos.
Here on Greenbrier, the kids are known to be adamant about making a sale, but we talked to ones here today who had this message to share with their fellow sellers.
We come out here every day to make some money. And And for people, and for black people to tell us no, we take that a certain way. We're like, oh, okay. They tell us no, we get angry. But y'all gotta chill out on with y'all anger. Y'all gotta learn how to control y'all anger. Y'all my partners, but control your anger. That's all I got to say.
A message of self-control there. And right now, Atlanta City Council is studying a plan that would essentially employ these water boys. Still, so many are not sold on this idea, calling the group dangerous. We'll have that part of the story coming up here at 9 and 11 o'clock. Live in Atlanta, I'm Sierra Cummings, CBS 46 News.
Thank you.
How much you want back the people that's calling these boys dangerous? And y'all seen hundreds of stories. I mean, I've done so many stories. They've shot so many people. They've assaulted so many people. They've accosted so many people. But, and I don't have to run down the list. Y'all seen all the videos. And even Meek Mill, rapper Meek Mill got it. He had a bad situation with them.
Support what we supporting though. What is we supporting? The water hustle. But what is we supporting, honestly? Y'all been on my mom, big bro. We out here water trying to start. We support y'all. The water, no y'all. My mom sold it, bro. We out here trying to. Bro, you can't blame me one time, bro. Y'all not gonna split it. What you say, big bro? It's like y'all been hand in my car. Big bro. Big bro, they want me one time, me. Yo, I just gave y'all money, man.
Man, y'all gotta split that money, man. $20.
Fuck, that's a job. Yeah, man.
Now you can see Meek gave them boys $20, and that wasn't enough. $20 for a bottle of water, that's not enough. He got out of there because, you know, they probably know that rappers ride with straps in the car. But you, with your wife or your kids, you would have had a different experience. And I know the people that's against the city giving these guys money to sell water are being dubbed as racist or coons. These guys' mentality, these are hoodlums, they're thugs. It's really hard to, you know, you can't save everybody. This whole notion that liberals have that, well, if you just throw money at it, just throw a bunch of money at it. And where that money gonna come from? You know where that money coming from. You. Terrible situation, man. Down there in Atlanta. God, dog.
KPRC2 Investigates is keeping track of the homicides across the city, and by our count, there have been at least 108 in the city this year. That is up from the mid-70s this time last year.
They up 30 murders this year in Houston. After a record-breaking year last year, they up 30 this year. And you ain't gonna hear a word about it nowhere. And I can take you to the gun memorial in Houston just to show you who's getting killed. But you already know. You already know.
Homicides across the city, and by our count, there have been at least 108 in the city this year. That is up from the mid-70s this time last year.
This is Houston's new police chief. Troy Finner is set to officially take over the department tomorrow. We begin tonight with the latest deadly shooting. A pregnant woman and her unborn child killed. Houston police saying the car she was driving was followed after some sort of altercation, and that suspect is on the run tonight.
It happened on Richmond Avenue near Wilcrest in the West Chase area. KPRC2's Rochelle Turner spoke to the woman's grandmother. She joins us live from the scene with the very latest. Rochelle?
Jonathan, Loretta Romo was full of emotions. Her granddaughter, who was 6 months pregnant, was killed in front of her boyfriend and young son. It's a tragedy that happened here on Easter Sunday.
I just, with anger, I don't have words to say.
Loretta Romo had to watch as detectives investigated the death of her loved one.
It's my granddaughter. And I'm from Wharton. And I told her, don't come to Houston. Don't come to Houston.
On Easter.
Now, why do you think that she tells, why do you think she tells told her granddaughter, don't come to Houston? Klansmen? Capitol rioters, Nazis. Why do you think this woman, they from outside Houston, she told her daughter, don't come to Houston, her granddaughter, don't come to Houston, don't come to Houston. Adamant, she was adamant that her granddaughter shouldn't come to Houston. Why do you think?
Sunday, police were called to this intersection in West Houston after a shooting.
There was an altercation that occurred 4300 block of Willcrest while the occupants of the vehicle behind me were traveling along the roadway. A secondary vehicle struck this vehicle here and then subsequently discharged a firearm from that vehicle, striking the front seat passenger, killing them here on the location.
The victim was shot in the back. Police say she was 22 years old. Romo says her granddaughter was 6 months pregnant.
She was lovable. There's words that you can't explain her because she's always laughter. She loved life. She was just getting started to enjoy it. She was becoming independent.
Police say the victim's boyfriend and a small child were also in the car.
Luckily, my grandson didn't get hit.
The suspect fled the scene. Police are trying to figure out exactly what led up to the shooting, but Romo had a message to the person who took her granddaughter's life.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna catch you.
And police are pulling surveillance video, hoping cameras in this area can help them find out who the suspect may be or exactly what led up to that shooting. We're told the suspect got away in a two-door, dark-colored coupe. Reporting live in West Houston, I'm Rochelle Turner, KPRC 2 News. Rochelle.
And you know what? It's funny how these stories come full circle. We started in South Carolina with an apology to, to the entire black community because of, a white guy shoved the black guy. And now we're back. Hilton Head, South Carolina, where a similar story to the story you just saw. And I salute Miss Romo, Mama Romo, for her strength, wanting to find justice for her granddaughter who was gunned down in a road rage incident, just like Miss Ellerby here was gunned down in South Carolina, right outside of Hilton Head on I-95. A non-contact. The guy tried to switch lanes, saw a car there, came back into his lane, and the car pulled up and fired a shot into his car, killing this mom of 6. Miss Ellerby. In South Carolina. There was no apology to this family. There was no national outcry. This story could not get any traction. And I'm going to show you why.
Want to continue our coverage of this breaking news at noon. We've talked to the Robeson County Sheriff's Office after the arrest of an accused road rage shooter. Officers say this is the man who killed a mother of 6 on I-95 as she headed to the beach.
CBS 17's Kayla Strayer is live in Robeson County. And Kayla, you've learned the suspect has a lengthy criminal record.
Yes, and part of that record includes assault with a weapon. The sheriff's office says that he's been in and out of prison for very serious crimes, felonies. In fact, he wasn't supposed to have a weapon. The weapon he was carrying carrying illegally. And they do say that the Chevrolet Malibu that the suspect was driving, he had changed the car since this incident happened. He had taken down the tent from the windows, taken off a sticker, but he was arrested just after midnight for the road rage shooting at an apartment complex here in Lumberton. The name is DeJuan Floyd. He was arrested at Parkview apartments, and officers say again he shot and killed Julie Everly last week after a road rage incident on 95 South. She and her husband were headed to the beach from Pennsylvania. They were celebrating their wedding anniversary. Floyd is charged with first-degree murder and discharging a weapon into an occupied property. He did appear in court for the first time today. The judge denied bond for him, and I just spoke with the sheriff. He slept about 2 hours over the past couple of days working on leads for this case and eventually catching the suspect. And he tells me about the moment when he finally did bring in the suspect to custody. Take a listen.
It's sad for the family still, but I'm pleased to bring it to a conclusion, particularly today, because Miss Julie Everly, the victim here, her funeral is today. So our detectives were able to notify the family about 6 o'clock this morning that the arrest had been made, and they were beyond pleased, even though, they're going through this today.
Yeah, and the suspect was arrested without incident. He was arrested at an acquaintance place, officers say, with the help of U.S. Marshals and the SWAT team here. And they say over the past week, they've received hundreds of tips from various witnesses, people from all over calling to say what they might have saw or giving pictures of that Malibu that helped lead to his arrest. And they say that private citizen will be collecting the $20,000 reward money. They can't say who it is, but that tip helped lead to this suspect's arrest. We'll continue gathering more information for you, and we'll be live on this story tonight at 5. Reporting live in Robeson County, Kayla Strayer, CBS 17 News.
Look, man, I don't know what you tell people, man. I'm at a loss. I don't know what you tell people. What do you tell people how to avoid these situations, man? Like, some of these situations are unavoidable. Like, anything on the road. This woman had the best advice, Miss Romo, Mama Romo. Don't go to Houston. And you can just fill in the blank. Use Houston as a, whatever that means. Don't go to Houston. Whatever Houston symbolizes. But then they win. And a lot of people can't afford to not go to these places. So that's advice only. I guess stay in the house. I mean, what do you tell people? What do you tell this guy who's pulling up at the mall? What do you tell him? Go to another mall. Okay. If you don't want to be harassed, and as a black person, because these guys specifically said that their anger is for black people, it's specifically targeted at black people. Not my words. How do you avoid it? So you basically gotta move and skate around these guys. And then hear on the news about how if one of them gets shoved, it's on Good Morning America. And CNN's talking about it all night. When one of them shoots you and you got a hunt and peck for the story, the only person covering it is us here. Share these videos. They shoot you, accost you, kill you, kill your family member on a, like, epic scale. Like, they're doing it, it's ridiculous. Every city's the same. Every democratically run city is the same. Every democratically run city is the same. Yet, if a woman accuses one of them of something, it's national news. Gayle King on Good Morning America's talking about it for weeks on end. Because one of them got accused of stealing the phone. And we don't even know if they did, though. Whatever. Story died, so the kid might have really took the phone. Then when one is finally caught, which is very rare, you find out you've been in and out the penitentiary. And if the justice system was like the way liberals and the media portrays it to be, this guy would have been under the jail. But no, he's on the streets because it's nothing like the way the liberal media portrays it. The criminal justice system is nothing like that. It's the opposite of what they say. So the guy who did whatever to you got 20 violent felonies on his record. And the best you can do is beg the carjackers or the thieves that are accosting you to please give you your oxygen tank before they drive off with your vehicle. Only to be returned to you with bullet holes riddled. Then you gotta turn on your TV and hear about how one of them was walking down the street minding his business and a racist jumped up out of nowhere and told him to get out of his neighborhood just because he's black. And he pushed him. And you're like, I have to hear about this guy getting pushed on every station. It's all over the media about this guy getting pushed. I gotta hear about this guy getting pushed, only to find out that the original story that we were told about why he was pushed, just pushed, one time with one arm, was all complete and utter BS.
Tell me what happened. I got the story from the lady who started the whole thing. Mr. John was in the house. For some reason, this lady, I don't know if she's lying. I can't say she's lying, but she's saying that the young man in the video sexually assaulted her daughter. They friends. The daughter 21, he's 22. What happened was they are quote unquote dog walking partners. The boy tugged on her shirt, she said. She came out yelling for help. She didn't explain how they got into the argument. She won't explain that. So boom, she said that she came out in the middle of her street and yelled help.
Share these videos. Hit the like button unprompted. Hit the Cash App, the PayPal, the Super Chat unprompted. Stay tuned. Subscribe to all my channels. Every channel I have in the description box, subscribe to it. Follow me on Twitter at Alpha Coyote. We gonna figure this out.